to Elite Weather Forecasting. I'm meteorologist Mr. G with you once again on your Monday, or what's today? Yeah, it is Monday, I think. Yeah, Monday. On your Monday evening, Mr. G back with you once again. Hope you guys all had a great day at work today. I had a good day, but now I am here with your weather forecast. And our city of today is going to be downtown Los Angeles. We got a live look out there right now. Well, it's not 100%, but it just probably 5 minutes. This will refresh here or so. So we are looking at Los Angeles right now. Beautiful clear skies out there across Southern California. Very clear, blue skies, no smog. Very good there. It's still a really hot day. It's 89 degrees right now in the downtown area, but we all know that it's about 5 to 10 degrees warmer in the valleys, and then another 10 to 15 degrees yet warmer out over the deserts like Palm Springs and Indio, where we're seeing those temperatures near 110 to 115 degrees. But there in the LA basin, we're looking at those temperatures in the mid to upper 90s and in the low to mid 70s along the beaches. So like Huntington Beach and Long Beach, Santa Monica, where it's going to be the cool spots around Southern California, where we're seeing those temperatures in the lower to mid 70s. And then up in the mountains, so like Big Bear and Idlewild, we are seeing those temperatures in the 70s as well. That's another place you can go to chill out and cool off in Southern California. So let's talk about the weather forecast for the rest of the country, because we got a couple of very strong hurricanes that we're going to be dealing with across the eastern U.S. So let's jump in to the rest of the forecast. All right, so now let's talk about the forecast that we're going to be dealing with across the rest of America right now. And let's deal with those hurricanes. We have two hurricanes that we're going to be talking about across the Atlantic today. One is taking place across the Gulf of Mexico and the Western Caribbean down here. We got Tropical Storm Idalia right now, and that is going to be making its way toward the north and going to be affecting Florida, eventually becoming a major hurricane about Wednesday or so before making landfall. So we are going to be talking about a pretty significant hurricane. This reminds me of Hurricane Ian from a year or two ago that landed as a Category 4 storm and actually spent time as a excuse me, as a Category 5 storm. This storm is going to follow a very similar evolution and a track as Hurricane Ian. So it's going to be a lot of similarities. We're going to see what's called a bomb cyclone. It's when it's going to gain 35 miles per hour as far as the wind speeds in the 24-hour period and increase. So we're going to see it become a bomb cyclone. So we're going to see a very strong hurricane develop near Florida as it makes its way towards Tampa Bay. And one thing I remember that Ian did when it affected Tampa a year or so ago, it made the bay, because of the direction that those winds came around the circulation, that it drained the water out of the bay, out of Tampa Bay. So we could see a very similar outcome again with this hurricane as it begins to evolve. It's a tropical storm. It hasn't reached hurricane status yet, but once it evolves into a hurricane, it's going to undergo rapid intensification and become a very strong major hurricane we're going to be talking about across the state of Florida. As it makes its way toward the north here, and we're going to see eventually making landfall between Tampa and Tallahassee right here, and we're going to be seeing a strong storm surge again across the Tampa area. That circulation may be now this is our cone of uncertainty here, so our storm can end up anywhere within this cone in this red marker here, so it can make landfall anywhere with that. Now it can make landfall outside of that. This is where the models are painting the orientation and that the direction of travel that our storm is going to take. So we're going to have a major hurricane across Florida, and we have our our tropical weather watches are up right now. We do have a hurricane watch up in effect right now across the West Florida. We have in Tampa a hurricane watch in effect. We have a tropical storm warning down here across Fort Myers and Key West. We have tropical storm watch as well. So we are dealing with some watches and warnings. Tropical storm watch is also up on the east coast of Florida from Jacksonville down to Melbourne. We are also dealing with have posted tropical storm watches, and we have our hurricane warning in effect there across the northwestern side of the Florida Peninsula. All right, so here is our storm surge forecast for Hurricane Idalia, and we're going to be seeing a 4 to 7 foot storm surge there near Tampa, Florida, but 6 to 9 feet there just to the north, maybe like near Clearwater and up near Tallahassee. We can see a higher storm surge near 7 to 11 feet near Pensacola and Apalachicola Beach. So we're going to be seeing a very strong storm surge with our hurricane as it makes its way toward the north across the state of Florida. Here is our rainfall forecast through Thursday, where we're going to be seeing upwards to 5 to 8 inches of rain here from the northwest Florida down across the Gulf of Mexico and over the west coast of Florida. We're going to see 3 to 5 inches of rain potentially before we get to Thursday with our hurricane making landfall. And here is our tropical storm force wind probabilities. This is where we have our strongest possibility of seeing tropical storm force winds with our hurricane coming right up there just north of Tampa is where I think the strongest winds will be with this hurricane. But right here is where we're going to see that strongest storm surge because we have that counterclockwise rotation. So it's going to be bringing all of that water right on shore. So all of these south-facing beaches and west-facing beaches, all the way up here to right about this curve into the Florida Panhandle is where we're going to be seeing heavy, strong surge and the highest winds. So we can see those winds gust up to 140 miles per hour as our hurricane makes landfall Tuesday into Thursday. Or Wednesday, I'm sorry, Wednesday. So here is our severe thunderstorm forecast pertaining to our hurricane. And we have that potential there, a possibility. You don't typically see severe thunderstorms with hurricanes, but they can spawn tornadoes. If you see any severe, it's going to be in the very outer bands of the storm. So those feeder bands on the outer edge of the storm is where you can see any severe weather and perhaps any tornadoes that could develop as well. It's going to be on those mouse outwardly feeder bands on the outward edge of the hurricane. So those would be the first things that you see as the hurricane approach is the severe thunderstorms and the potential for tornadoes. But you don't see that much as the eye of the storm gets closer and the eye wall begins to encroach on your area. You don't deal with severe thunderstorms as well. It's going to feel like it's severe because of the highest amount of winds. That's where your strongest winds are in the eye wall of the hurricane. So as our storm approaches, that's what our forecast is for the potential for severe weather. And we got one other hurricane out there. Hurricane Franklin is a category 4 hurricane with 145 mile per hour winds out here, and it is making its way to the north and northeast. It's going to go parallel with the U.S. East Coast, and it's going to pass just to the west of Bermuda here. Bermuda is going to get a glancing blow. They will pick up some rain. They will pick up some winds. They will possibly see at least some tropical storm force winds on those outer bands of Hurricane Franklin as it passes by. And what's interesting is that Hurricane Idalia will be right on the heels, passing near the same area that Hurricane Franklin will pass through once Idalia makes landfall, travels across the southeast. It's going to travel from Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, then come offshore between Cape Hatteras and Myrtle Beach in South Carolina. So it's going to move back out over the Atlantic and follow pretty much the same path along the Gulf Stream that Hurricane Franklin is going to take. It's going to follow in its footsteps up the northeast coast there. And here is our swells that we're going to see. It's going to make for a lot of surf here across from Bermuda to the U.S. or the southeast, from Georgia, the Carolinas, Maryland, and Virginia, all the way up to the northeast. Could see higher swells because of our hurricanes. Two hurricanes, Franklin and Idalia, will both have an impact on the surf and also be responsible for causing rip currents as well. So I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of rip current advisories posted by the National Weather Service from all of that churning of the seas out there. So right along the coast, we're going to see those rip currents create some problems. For some folks out there, if you're swimming or anything like that. So there probably will be some no swimming warnings posted along the East Coast. Here is our severe thunderstorm forecast, our severe thunderstorm outlook, and that we are going to be seeing through Wednesday. So we're going to see our severe thunderstorm. We have a slight risk for severe thunderstorms here over the northwest coast of Florida, from Tampa, St. Petersburg, and all the way up to Tallahassee. We're going to see the potential there for severe thunderstorms. And then we have a marginal risk for severe thunderstorm across the rest of the state of Florida. And again, our primary threats with this severe weather is going to be winds and very heavy rain. Not much in the way of hail, and maybe a few tornadoes might be possible with this severe weather threat. And we also have a severe weather possibility where we have a marginal risk for severe weather across the northern Rockies, so Montana, Idaho, parts of Washington and Oregon. We can see a marginal risk for severe weather, and that is going to be for some hail and damaging winds are going to be the primary threat with that area, as we have an area of low pressure that is moving along the Canadian and U.S. border that's going to spread severe weather eventually from the northwest into the northern plains as we move through the week, as that weak storm system makes its way along the U.S. and Canadian border. And then we have our severe threat for Thursday, and this is going to be when our storm moves in from Wednesday into Thursday. This is our severe threat, as our hurricane will have made landfall and is making its way across the southeast, Georgia and South Carolina, before heading back out over the open Atlantic. But we will have a risk, again, a slight risk there for severe weather, where we're going to be expecting some heavy rainfall and damaging winds to be the primary threat. Isolated tornadoes is also going to be possible. Remember, again, on those outer feeder bands is where we could see that risk for tornadoes with hurricanes and tropical systems. And then here's our rainfall forecast. Now, as we look at that rainfall that we're going to be seeing from Tuesday into Thursday, look at our rainfall increase down here across Florida. This is our hurricane as it makes its approach to the west coast of Florida. As you can see, a lot of heavy rain is going to be possible, where in excess of 10 inches of rain could fall in association with our hurricane as it makes its way here across to Florida and Georgia, South Carolina, and into North Carolina before heading out over the Atlantic. So we're going to see a lot of heavy rain across the southeast and over those coastal areas from the Carolinas and from Georgia and Florida. And then here is our big view of our weather map for our rainfall prediction. And we're going to see some showers and storms across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes area. We have that weak storm system that's going to be moving across, bringing some rain showers. And then we have monsoon moisture continuing across the Southwest and over the Rockies. So we're going to see those monsoon thunderstorms continue across the Rockies and in the high plains as well. We're going to see afternoon and evening thunderstorms as we kind of have a weak front in the area that's going to also have a weak area of low pressure kind of hanging around across the high plains out here that's going to be responsible for sparking some showers and storms. So some folks across the high plains, so eastern New Mexico, eastern Colorado, eastern and central Wyoming, as well as the southwestern Nebraska and western Kansas could pick up some showers and thunderstorms. And maybe some showers is going to be possible along our old front down there across central and southern Texas, and showers and storms along the Gulf Coast because of our front, and two hurricanes that will be influencing the weather across the southeastern U.S. And then here is that weather forecast. We're going to be seeing our showers and storms this evening. This is what we have going on. We got some showers and storms up there across the Pacific Northwest from that area of low pressure that's coming on shore that would be moving across the northern tier of the U.S. There is our tropical system down there. This is Idalia, and there is Franklin right there. And then we have our old frontal boundary that's been responsible for the cooler weather across the east. So we're going to see some showers and storm along that frontal boundary. And we have a secondary front there across the Great Lakes that's bringing some showers and thunderstorms this evening that's going to continue into the eastern Great Lakes and eventually into the Northeast as we head into a day or two from now. Here is our geospatial heights, our 500 millibar heights. Now, this is what we're seeing across the weather. This is our old, now I'm going to stand right here so you can see this ridge of high pressure right here. This was the ridge of high pressure that was expanded all over the central U.S., responsible for those ridiculous heat indexes and high heat temperatures. We saw those 100 plus degree temperatures there across the central U.S., but that has now been moved to the west coast. So we're seeing that warm weather across the southwest, the beautiful weather across Southern California today. That's due to that high pressure that's going to be responsible for that warm, beautiful, clear skies that they're seeing out in LA. This is our cool down for the eastern U.S. So we have troughing along the northeast and the Great Lakes, and that trough will be dropping to the south later on this week. So as we move into your day on Tuesday, this is where we're going to be seeing that front dropping down Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, we're going to see that cooler air starting to spread down across the south and into the southeast. And then again for you on your Wednesday and Thursday, we have that cooler air continuing to spill, but we're starting to see, now this is our hurricane right here. This is cooler air because of our hurricane. This is where our hurricane is. This is that big ridge of high pressure that's beginning to build back in again. And you can see right here, it's starting to expand back toward the north and west. So we're going to see temperatures steadily warm up across the central plains, the northern plains, and parts of the Midwest. We're going to start to see those temperatures warm up as our ridge of high pressure begins to reassert itself and expand across the central United States once again. Our expanding high pressure begins to expand a little bit further to the north. We have our retreating trough here to the east, and our ridge is starting to expand to the west. Again, that big ridge of high pressure expanding from the west, and this is going to be for you as we get into Friday and Saturday. Again, look at this by the weekend, by the upcoming weekend. That ridge expands way back out across the central U.S., back down across Texas. That heat again, that heat will also begin to spread across the northern plains. We're going to enjoy a couple days more in the 70s and 80s, but by the time we get to the weekend, Friday and Saturday, we're going to be seeing those mid to upper 90s, even as far north as Minnesota and North and South Dakota and the Great Lakes. So those 90s will be coming back. The heat and humidity will be coming back by the end of the week. So enjoy whatever respite you get for the next couple of days. Again, on Saturday, this is our forecast, our geospatial heights, and this is our big ridge of high pressure. Again, you see that big ridge. It looks like it's just a big hill. So that's exactly what it is. It's a big dome of high pressure, a dome of hot air that's being compressed. So this is our big ridge that's rebuilding across the central U.S. again, and it's going to make for very hot weather. And this is the temperatures that we're going to be seeing as we work our through the week, our way through the week. This is what we're going to be seeing for your Tuesday. Again, really hot down here to the south, Texas. Our triple digits will continue along the Gulf Coast and in Texas. And we're going to be seeing it cooler right here because this is where our tropical storm is. So we're going to have rain cooled and tropical storm cooled air right there. Our heat across the desert southwest, the desert heat. But we're starting to see things warm up across the north. So the upper Midwest and the northern plains. So Montana, North and South Dakota, as well as through Wyoming and Colorado, starting to get warm. You see these dark red dust temperatures in the 90s, 80s, and 90s. Again, seeing those 80s and 90s continue to build across the high plains. And it's starting to warm. There's our cooler spot because this is where our hurricane is. Hurricane Idalia is making it cooler across the southeast. And that's what that indicates, that cooler air from the hurricane. So as we move on into Thursday, we're seeing those warmer temperatures across the high plains and that heat across Texas continuing very hot across the state of Texas. And then as we move on into Friday, again, very hot, starting to see those warmer temperatures, those 90s return. And look at that, by the time we get to Saturday, those 90s, boom, really expand across the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, the Corn Belt. So we're starting to see from what the Ohio Valley, the Illinois Valley, Missouri, the central and southern plains, very hot again once in Texas. But look at, we start to see a little bit of a cool off there across the desert southwest. So a bit of a cooling trend because we will get a trough that will start to affect the western U.S. and that ridge will build in across the central and over the east, with the trough building in over the west by the weekend. So that's going to help cool things down a little bit across the desert southwest as well. So this is where you can beat the heat. My name is Mr. G, your meteorologist with your weather forecast. I hope you guys have a good night tonight and a great day tomorrow. I will see you guys all again tomorrow evening. Bye-bye.